What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm here today to talk about the most underrated song on every Taylor Swift album. Now, we've done a couple lists like this already. We talked about the worst song on every album by Taylor Swift and the best song on every album. And again, the worst song thing is not me going at her at all. I had talked about this in the last video. So in this one, what I want to do is I want to talk about a song in the album that I specifically really like. I think it's really, really good, and I just feel like it doesn't get all the praise in the world. I'm going to be very kind of specific from album to album, kind of explain why I'm picking it, maybe go through some of the songs I can see other people picking. As always, if you want me to cover anything Taylor Swift related, let me know. We do videos like this every single Sunday, and I'm planning on doing that for the indefinite future. I have a lot of ideas I still want to do, some more top lists, like maybe even top 10 lists, and just talking about some of her songs, also talking about her. So if you guys have any suggestions of what you want to hear me talk about of Taylor Swift, anything of me like analyzing a song or creating a top 10 list of something, maybe some other kind of top 10 list, definitely let me know in the comments below. But let's get right into this. First album we're going to be looking at is her first album, Taylor Swift. And now, I had talked about Mary Song quite a lot. It's my favorite song on the album. Now, with that, I didn't want to just be repetitive and say that's also my most underrated. I do think it's an underrated song. I think it's an incredible show of how smart and how good of a storyteller she was at just such a young age, at 16 years old, or even younger when she wrote it. But I want to talk about I'm Only Me When I'm With You on this album. And I don't remember exactly. I think some people actually said it was their least favorite. I have maybe seen some that say it's their favorite. I'm not exactly sure. I really like this song. I think this song is a much faster paced, very in-your-face kind of style on this album. It's very much a non-country song. It's more of a pop rockish song. On her very first album, I think it's very, very bold. I really do like the lyrics. I really like the instruments, though. I think the instruments and her voice. Her voice on this actually reaches like she sounds noticeably different on this song than any of the other songs, and I actually really, really like it. And all the breaks of the songs too. This song, I think, just has a lot of power behind it with her voice. I think the instruments work really well, and like I said, it's really eliminating a lot of the country aspects of it. Even Mary Song doesn't really have a lot of country aspects either. That's more of an acoustic kind of set, but it does have a little bit of country kind of aspects to it. But this song, again, it's got the violins going too, but they're more of a faster pace. They're trying to keep up, I think, with the guitars and the drums, and it is more of an actual rock song than obviously pop. It's very catchy when she says I'm only me when I'm with you. So I do like it. I do think it's one of her better songs on this album. I don't think it gets talked about as much as it probably should. I think it's a very nice song to go back to and just say, like, this is, she had a lot of talent back then. This is definitely one of my favorite songs on the album. I think this is one of my close top ones on Taylor Swift. On Fearless, it's very easy for me, very easy. It's Hey Stephen. Now, this is a tough one. This is a tough one too, because I've seen people in comments and in different things looking around saying that they don't like Hey Stephen. The kind of the scatting that she does in it is a little bit different, but I like it. I like her kind of very soft. She has a very soft approach with the song. So it's just like she's talking, Hey Stephen. She's just talking to him, and she's telling him all these things that she's noticed about him, and how she like appreciates him, and she appreciates what he does, and ultimately like she kind of like likes him. And I really do like it. I like the background. I like her humming. I like that style to it. This is just a very, very different kind of song that comes very early in Fearless, and it never goes back to this song. There's no other song that kind of replicates the feel that Hey Stephen does. It's slower. It's not very popish. It is a little bit, like, it's very catchy, but it's not very popish. It's a little bit slower, and it's just got this like nice little cute kind of feel to it. Again, a very soft voice by her, but I really like her voice, and especially during the actual verses. Maybe not so much the chorus, but the verses definitely. I love her voice in this. So there's definitely other songs in this, and this is home to some of her best songs. Like I said last week, Love Story is my favorite song. I think it's the best song on this album, one of the best songs she's ever made. Hey Stephen is right after Love Story, and I think it actually works really, really well. You get this kind of grand sound in Love Story and all this great stuff that happens, and then you get to kind of like cool down a little bit with Hey Stephen. So I really, really like that song. I think it's underappreciated. I don't think enough people talk about that song. I think when you go back and you listen to Fearless, maybe that's not the first song that you think of when you think of Fearless. It's definitely one of mine. I know there was a person or two that said it was maybe their least favorite on the album. That's okay, but I definitely like it. I think it's very underappreciated. Now with Speak Now, it's a little bit tougher because in Speak, again, like with the way I'm trying to organize this video is I'm trying to pick a song that I really like on albums that I don't think are maybe appreciated, but I'm trying not to pick like bad songs, but I'm also maybe not trying to pick the best. I could argue Enchanted is the most underappreciated song on this. It's not. My official pick is Haunted. It could have been Enchanted, because I think Enchanted is the best song, again, she's ever made. If I had to make a top 10 list and say, what's her best song ever? It's Enchanted. That's my personal opinion. So if you follow that, you would say, well, I think it's very underappreciated because, you know, you hear Speak Now and maybe you think of Mine, or maybe you think of all these other kind of songs, but you don't really think of Enchanted. I think people do. And I think people think of Haunted too. That's why it's kind of hard to say Haunted. But I don't want to give it to, like, Innocent, which was a close one. That's something I was thinking about doing. Long Live, if this was a movie. Those are also kind of underappreciated songs for sure. But I'm going to go with Haunted because I think Haunted is also this grand feel. It's very much in the same vein of Love Story and Enchanted. I think Haunted is one of her top 5 best songs ever, just like Love Story and Enchanted. I think Haunted is a beautiful song. I think her voice is fantastic in it. The orchestral kind of sound behind her is perfect. It's very in your face. It's very loud, but it's very beautiful. The sound is just great. So I think she knocked it out of the park with Haunted. I do think it's one of her more popular songs. My sister went to go see her on the Speak Now tour. And, you know, she dresses up and she's got people like flying all around when she did Haunted back then. She's got like the bell, right, that she hit. So she has like a whole setup for Haunted, or at least she did. So I think Haunted is special to her too. I think it's a song she knows is a good song. But I just don't think people really think that like that's the best song on Speak Now, and it's not. Like I said, I think Enchanted is, but Haunted is totally one of her best songs ever. So underappreciated, maybe not, but I don't think it's appreciated enough, and so that's why I'm listing it here. Red's tough too, because I think there's a lot of really good elite songs, and I think there's some songs that just don't really do it as much. We've talked about both of those aspects in the review. We've talked about it in the best song and the worst song. And by the way, again, I've reviewed every single one of these albums, so if there's a song that you don't necessarily understand, maybe from my 20-second, 30-second talk of why it's underappreciated, go watch the review of that specific album. I talk about literally every single song. Maybe still not in immense detail, but I think I talk about it way more than any other YouTuber I've ever seen. So in Red, I was originally going to go with Treacherous because I really like Treacherous, and I don't think it's a song people go to. I really don't think it's a song that, and it's early on in the album. I think maybe you forget about it towards the end of it. It's a beautiful song. I really like her voice. I'm going to go with Holy Ground because Holy Ground is a song for me that just climbed up the rankings when I was listening to Red. Holy Ground was not one of this. Firstly, I thought it wasn't even on the album. That's not that, and Starlight, which I also thought was like a B-side song. Didn't even know it was on the album until I listened to the album and it was there. Those two songs are very, very good. Both of them a little bit faster paced. Holy Ground is definitely faster paced though, and I like it. It's very catchy. It makes you like want to move. Like it gets in your face, and I love the instruments. Her voice in it is awesome. I like the lyrics too. I mean, everything of this song is very good. I know people don't like Sad, Beautiful, Tragic because it comes right after Holy Ground. I had to look at the order of the songs. I know people don't like it because it comes after. And I think that people think that it hurts Sad, Beautiful, Tragic. That's my favorite song on this album is Sad, Beautiful, Tragic. But Holy Ground I think is just fast. It's really fun, and it's just really awesome. It's a really awesome song. One of the better songs, definitely. Top 4, top 5. This is a hard one though, because I think there's so many songs that are underappreciated. Holy Ground didn't get a music video, and that's what I was about to say, Begin Again. It would maybe be a choice. That did get a music video from her, and a single. So I don't necessarily think that that's underappreciated, at least by her. Right? I don't necessarily think that. Treacherous could be another one. Starlight could be another one. And there's a few more as well. But I'm going to go with Holy Ground. Very good song. One of the best on the album. But maybe not, with I Knew You Were Trouble and all these other We Were Never Ever Getting Back Together. With all those and Ed Sheeran and all that. With all that being part of this album, I think people kind of forget about that Starlight, Holy Ground, Sad, Beautiful, Tragic, like ending part. I think people forget about that because you think of all the other big parts of Red. 1989 is next, and I'm going to go with Clean on this one. It's the final song on the album, and I think, not counting the B-sides, which, by the way, the B-sides, maybe even New Romantics would definitely be up there as maybe my number 2 most underappreciated song, because I personally adore that song. I don't think people necessarily like it. I think somebody even said that it was their least favorite song, and it was New Romantics. I don't get that. I really don't get that. Obviously, I don't, I'm not gonna fight you about it, but I don't get that necessarily. But I really, really like Clean. I think it's a perfect way to end the album. It's very different. It's taking kind of a page. I think she did the same thing with Reputation, really, and we'll get there actually, because that's a good point by me. But I think she kind of follows this through, right? Because 1989 is this very, pop-centric, catchy. It's more electronic, just a little bit. It's experimenting. It's not country at all. There's still the pop elements. But in terms of Clean, it takes, Clean is not Shake It Off. And it's not Blank Space. And it's not How You Get the Girl. It's not any of these songs. Clean is a slower, her voice is really beautiful in the song. Like I said, it is slower. I like the beat in the background. I like the lyrics. I like how she kind of even, it's almost as if she's talking about addiction in a way. It's just not the actual kind of like drug addiction and getting past it. So I really, really like this song. I think its lyrics are very powerful. I love her voice in it. I love that it ends the album. I think it's underappreciated because of that, because 1989 is kind of centered around Shake It Off, Blank Space, Out of the Woods, these kind of songs, Style. It's kind of centered around those. The first half, really. Again, I think, Places, and I think How You Get the Girl, and I think all those middle songs, I think, and the ending, Clean, even the ending songs, Wonderland, and New Romantics, I think those songs kind of get overlooked when you think of 1989, and I definitely wanted to give it to Clean. This was an easy pick personally by me, because I love that song a lot, and I don't think it gets it's a really smart song, so I don't think it gets the popularity it deserves. Reputation, I had a very hard time picking, and I didn't really know how I wanted to approach Reputation, because here's a couple of the problems with picking an underappreciated song of Reputation. The album just came out. There's not a lot of people talking about it, as much as, maybe her past albums. Not enough time has passed to fully, be able to evolve and say, well, where has these songs gone? Do they still kind of resonate with me years later? You can look at Speak Now and Fearless and Red and even 1989, and you could see these songs grow and, this song still works. Reputation hasn't had that time yet. But, I can still pick one. Now, the one I chose is New Year's Day. It's the final song on the album. Again, I was going to pick Ready For It. Ready For It's my favorite song. Again, I didn't necessarily want to pick Ready For It because it's my favorite song. I wanted to try and do something different. The problem with New Year's Day, just mentally me picking it for the most underappreciated, is I don't think it's underappreciated. She played it on Jimmy Fallon. A lot of people, when I did the rankings, or when I ranked every song on Taylor Swift's Reputation, we got a ton of lists, and thank you guys so much for doing that. A lot of people put New Year's Day towards the top. It was very consistently in the top 3, 4, 5. So people definitely liked it. And I love it too. I think it definitely is. I think I had it number 3. I don't necessarily remember. I didn't want to pick Endgame, or I Did Something Bad, or I didn't want to pick Getaway Car or Dancing with Our Hands Tied. Maybe I could have picked, but people hate that song. Either they hate it or they love it. So I didn't necessarily want to pick that either. So New Year's Day is a very different kind of song. Again, just like Clean. I really like that she's done this twice in a row now. New Year's Day is completely different from Reputation. Maybe you've seen theories going around the internet that it's literally talking about a new year, a fresh start. What's happened has happened. The album has happened. She's cleaning up after the party, right? All that. The literal meaning, the literal lyrics of the song kind of imply there was a party. She's cleaning up after it. They're moving on. It's a fresh start. All that stuff. New Year's is a new year. And people have kind of theorized that means okay, Reputation was this. She got it out of her system, right? She wanted to do this. Now she's kind of evolved past it, and we're going to go to a fresh new start. Firstly, I really like that theory. That does help the song, I think. That helps it give it a little bit more of a layer. But just in the song itself, I think it's a beautiful song. I really like her voice. I like that it's just her. It's just her and a piano. It's not, Reputation, and we've talked about this on Reputation's album review. We've also talked about it in terms of when I ranked all the songs, when I talked about New Year's Day. Reputation is such a big album, right? It's got so many noises, it's got so much going for it, but it can get to you. I think if you listen to it too many times in a row, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of sounds, there's a lot of tracks she's trying out, there's a lot of her voices. New Year's Day is just like a ballad. It's just her sitting there with the piano, singing. She kind of sings over herself a little bit towards the end, but I like that. I actually think that's quite beautiful. I really enjoy that part. But that album is very in your face, and there's a lot to it. But New Year's Day is just very quiet. It's just her. She's playing a nice little, she kind of like offsets the piano and kind of gets quieter towards the end of actually playing like the actual chord progression of the piano. I really like that. But I just really like her voice. I like that it's just her. It's just her singing. It reminds me of her older songs. She really doesn't have another song like it though, so it's hard to compare it to another song, but I just like that it's just her with her piano just singing. I think it's a fantastic song. I think it's a fantastic ending to Reputation. And again, I know maybe it's not underappreciated, but it's what I'm going to choose for this. So I want to know what you guys think. What is your most underappreciated songs on any of her albums? Leave in the comments below. Again, let me know any other videos you want me to do on Taylor Swift, any top 10 lists, any analysis videos, anything, any Taylor Swift video. I'm going to be doing these every Sunday until I feel like there's just no interest, which I think with Taylor Swift there'll always be interest. So I really appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you on the next Taylor Swift video.